All right, time to see what I can do with this. This piece of dacite was gifted to me in this condition. Yeah, it's a nice biface. It has a slight curvature. Not bad. It's got a natural crack in it. I think that is natural right there. I don't know how deep that goes. That could go very deep. It does have some banding in it. Yeah, I'm probably going to break this up into a couple videos because I'm going to go slow. I want to keep the whole length of it. So that's going to be a challenge with Dacite because it is not that flexible. I got little... Hold on. I don't want anything bugging me while I'm trying to do this. I got little particles in the gloves. Anyway, I need to strengthen these edges. I can tell already. I can get some nice flakes off of this. Let me go to a less coarse Abrader. Yeah, there was some cortex right on the edge, on the tip there. Or patina. I don't know if Obsidian has a cortex, but it does get a patina sometimes. Well, I don't know why I said sometimes. Whatever it is, cortex or patina, it's usually quite thin. Yep. All right. I should try using my aluminum bopper on this, but I'm going to use the copper, which means I need to abrade quite a bit to make sure everything is cool. I usually try to end the week with Obsidian or Dacite. Yes. Well, I don't know. I've done it both ways. All right. That one showered the right side of my face with flakes. I see how this is going to go. I'm going to have to... And I felt some flakes go down the neck of my shirt. Yeah. Or the collar of my t-shirt or whatever. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to have to... I'll shake it out later. Hopefully I remember. I'm attacking this big area here because I need to make it more narrow to improve the symmetry. It's narrow up here, so I need to make it narrow down there, down in this area. So, hopefully I can get some good flakes. This is usable. It's kind of small, but that'll be probably the average size of the flakes that come off of this. All right, ready? Nice. It's snapping halfish. There's no reason for it to break right there. No. I had my fingers like, let me see if it's because of my finger placement. I don't know. I don't think it was. I use minimal pressure when I'm holding it. Just enough to sit. It's its own weight on my fingers. I'm not push or pressing. So I don't think the fingers cause it to snap. I think it's just snapping halfish. Yeah. you know, which is pretty typical. Yeah. Okay. So if you're working with Dacite like this, the high grade stuff, you gotta tiptoe with it. Yeah. That's a coarse abrader. I gotta put that away. It wears down the edge too much by removing flakes instead of grinding it down with a coarse abrader. Yeah. I'm striking it like this because this is a lot more slow and easy. If I hit it from the side like this, it's a lot more aggressive. It's going to produce similar flakes, but this showers upward when I do that. This one's not as bad for the flake showers. It's just more difficult for me to hit it on the first try. Yeah. Do I like to slow down the strikes? No, I don't like to slow down the strikes, but like I said, it's less showering of flakes. Why don't I like to slow down the strikes? For some reason, it just doesn't give me the same satisfaction. I don't know if it's subconscious or what. I can't really get into a zone if I'm using this weird tapping, posture with the billet. But I know that it helps. And it doesn't have much to do with the Flintknapping itself. It has to do with all these flakes shooting up back into my face. Once it gets smaller, I don't have to use as much force, and they don't fly with as much speed or distance. Now, did they do that in the past, and did it affect the napping? You decide that one. They didn't have safety glasses. So you tell me. Damn it. Yeah. Crunchyiola pudding. Okay. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Yeah, there's still a crack in it right there. And it wants to dive in. Yeah, the terminations, they want to dive instead of feather. At least on that one. But I can tell that looks pretty common occurrence that the flakes, they want to dive instead of feathering outward. Yep. Which is not good. Especially when it starts to get thin. That's when all these things rear their ugly heads. Right when they're not supposed to do it. When you're trying to get it thinned down. I'm trying to get big flakes and usable flakes. Okay, I'm trying to get these. That's why I'm being kind of careful instead of spastic. Yeah, I'm usually pretty spastic, but I want to be careful. I got a tiptoe. I don't see any other cracked areas. Yeah, it crunches way too easily. I am using a lot of inward force anyway, so I'm risking the crunches. I'm risking crunching the edge. Nice. See, these are usable flakes. Yeah, usable. Well, it's kind of curved. It's got a nice pattern going right there. Hopefully I'll be able to preserve some of the patterning. Let's see, it's already 12 minutes, but I got to cut this video short and go inside. I got a feeling I'm not going to be able to nap much tonight. Let's see, 1 or 2 more flakes and I got to go inside. All right. Yep, I know what this is going to do. Yeah, it's a typical finicky dacite. Yeah. It naps so easily. That worries me. Look how that scooped it. We're only supposed to go that far. Yeah, that's it. I'm supposed to scoop out the rest of that. That rears its ugly head when it starts to get thin too. When it starts to scoop out areas like this. When it's thin, that'll mess up your day. Yeah, that's good. All right, so I know where this is going to go. I know what it's going to do, pretty much. I'll continue this on the next segment. I probably won't post this little 14-minute video by itself unless it gets too late and I can't come back out here. All right, so that's good for now. Yeah, good for now. All right, that's it. All right, so where was I? Let's see. I seem to remember that this Dacite is crunchy on the edges. Yeah. It tends to want to dive instead of feather. It'll scoop. It has all the issues of Dacite, except it does not look inconsistent. Some Dacites have little pockets of ash and internal cracks. This did have an internal crack. I forget which side it was. Maybe it was this side here. And that disappeared after thinning it down a little bit. All right, so I'm actually at the next stage of thinning. So I've already gone as thin as I could and still be able to knock off some large flakes that I can use later. Now it's just a matter of pecking at it and make sure it doesn't get too thin. With snap and half-ish type stuff, which this is, I could tell by the initial flakes coming off, you don't want to go too thin. It's counterproductive. Because I don't want to make 2x-faces. I want to make 1x-face. Yeah. Let's see. Let me get this out before I do anything else. This is a big lump right there. Well, I don't know if that's a good strategy yet. Maybe I'll thin the end down first. Yeah, let's try that. I'm still going relatively slow with the strikes because I don't want a shower of flakes in my face. See, it doesn't want to feather out. It doesn't want to pop out at the end. It wants to dive in. So I got to be careful about how I run those flakes. Can't run them too long. So if I end up using too much energy, they will dive and I won't get a good flake. If I use a little bit of energy, at least they'll run, maybe 3/4 to 7/8 of the way across, which is still fine. It's already getting pretty thin, so I don't need to run a lot of big flakes right now. See how they break up like this? That means it's kind of snapping halfish and even breaks up the other way. I still have a bit of a curve in this thing. Now I can take all day to do one blade. It's probably smarter to take longer to make these. I just wish I had that kind of time. Now back in the day, they might have had that kind of time. There's a good chance they did not have a lot of time, but you never know how much time they spent on these. See, that should have gone. That was like the perfect edge right there, but it didn't go. It just crushed. Maybe there was already some incipient cracks in there. In which case, it wasn't the perfect edge. Let's see. It looked like it was fine. It just a little bit shattered, but it didn't look like it had a lot of incipient cracks. I said in the beginning of the video that I felt like using aluminum, but copper works really well on almost any material. Yeah. What material does it not work on? Well, it does not work well on extremely tough chert. I don't like using copper on really tough stuff like I don't know, just really tough chert. Now, if you get into the super tough stuff like Rhyolite, copper's not too bad. It's just the some of the cherts and some of the agates that are really tough. I don't like using copper because it eats up the copper tip too easily. I gotta keep maintaining the tip. Sometimes the flakes just don't go. So I use a steel on really tough chert. Yeah, this stuff does not like inward force that much. I can get inward force to work, but I gotta hit it with a snappy motion. Really snappy. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels a little bit sneaky. It just keeps crushing. Yeah, I think this is a common problem with Dacite. I tried to be sneaky, but it didn't work. See that? It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I can't use much inward force at all. Not the way I'm doing it anyway. And without inward force, I can't drive these flakes the way I want to. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason I'm having a difficult time adjusting to this material. So I'm going to have to zone out here. Yeah, it's not the same technique or the same feel or the same anything when you have a new material. You have to adapt somewhat. And for some reason, I'm not able to quickly pick up on what I need to do here. I was able to run flakes easily this way, but not that way. I'm thinking maybe it's the material. Flint knaps better in one direction than the other, but it shouldn't be that way with this. Maybe it is, I don't know. I can't figure it out. Sometimes I can tell if it naps better in one way than the other. This one, it's a mystery. If it's me or the stone or what. Yeah, see, normally that would not do that. On other parts of the stone, it doesn't do this. It doesn't abruptly stop when it should continue. That's not that bad. Yeah. There's no major obstacle there, so there's no reason for it to stop other than it's very snap and halfish. That flake just snaps, doesn't want to go. See, that one was fine. And it was a less advantageous contour of the surface. Yeah, see, it was concave. There's no ridge in the middle. This one had a ridge. See how this one has a completely different surface contour, and yet it went. And the edge wasn't as good as what I prepared up here. So there's something funny going on. And it could be just the weird pre-existing conditions on the edges. So some of those edges might look ground down, but they're not. Because this type of thing happens when the edge is weak. See, there's not much. It didn't take much to pick that off there. See that? So the flake should have taken it off, but it didn't. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there we go. Same situation again. It looks like it's a well-ground edge, but apparently it isn't. And if I grind it too much, it takes a big bite out of it. I think that's what's going on. It looks well ground, but it isn't, because of some weird crushing or something going on with it. When I skim it or brush it with the abrader, I might be sending in a bunch of small incipient small incipient fractures that don't normally happen with other material. But I can't see it. I'm just having to guess if that's what's going on. But I don't see any other obvious explanation other than maybe it's just grain of the material. It's kind of wavy. It may be easier to knap in some directions than others. It's not consistent in the way that it flakes. I don't know. I mean, it's nice material because it does produce flakes as long as the conditions are correct. It's just getting those initial conditions correct that seems to be the issue. Seems to be the challenge. See, that felt like it made solid contact. But that edge had to be very wide. It's not a perfect surface. See, again, it's not a ridge that I followed. See that? But it did take the flake without crushing. And it did travel, kind of okay. Yeah, I didn't dive in. So I didn't push all that hard. If I pushed a little harder, I might have dived in. See, I can't tell if these are going to pop out or not either. It's very difficult for me to predict what's going on with this stuff. And it's not the lighting, it's just the material. Yeah, see, it's going to start doing that once it gets thinner. Those bites, when I grind it down really well. Yeah. And if I hit softer, that's what happens. It doesn't go all the way. And I've tried to put a little bit of pressure behind it. Load up a little pressure before I strike, but it doesn't work. I just tried it just then, and all it does is it wants to dive. Too much inward pressure, and it wants to dive right away. I have a habit of using the coarse abrader, but I think I'm installing incipient cracks when I do that. It appears that this material is very susceptible to the incipient cracks. I've napped plenty of this, but not with the big blades. See, the big blades require a lot of force to run these flakes, comparatively speaking. With a small point, I don't need to use this much force. And it's a little bit more controllable. This stuff, any little tap will produce a flake or a crack. If it doesn't produce a flake, it will produce a crack. There's never a time where nothing happens. Every single tap on the edge or abrasion causes some kind of an effect. Yeah, it can. See, it is consistent enough to run these kinds of flakes. So that makes it good material. But the unpredictability of the edge drops the rating of the material down pretty much. So any gains you get by being able to run long flakes is eliminated or, counterbalanced by how easily the edge is messed up. You can mess up these edges really easily so that what you think is going to run is not going to run. Yep. That's why I think a lot of this stuff is just slabbed and napped with flake over grind. That way you can control the edge perfectly and not have to worry about incipient cracks. The edge is getting thin, see that? So that's what happens when you strike hard. But I needed to do that to clear that out of there. But that's the price to pay. Yep. That's why a lot of these dance blades are quite narrow. They might be long, but they're narrow because of problems. That's a problem right there. Yeah. They don't want to run. Yeah. Right when you need them to run, they don't run. And that was a good area. Yeah, I should have taken it down and made it more narrow first, because I got to make it more narrow anyway. Yeah, probably so. Probably so. It's so annoying. This one has been annoying. Oops. And that's annoying too when I hit the flaker. When I hit the workpiece on the flaker like that. Luckily, it didn't snap the tip off. Luckily. If that had snapped the tip off, I would have deleted the video, most likely. Flipping it around and hitting the flaker, a lot of times that snaps the tip off. How do I know? I don't know. See, I think this process right here that I do, that I have a habit of doing, is causing lots of incipient cracks. It shouldn't be too bad with this less coarse abrader. But we'll see. I do this to save time. It saves a lot of time. And I would be doing the same thing with a hammerstone. So it's not just because I'm using an artificial abrader. I do this with hammerstones too. Or abrading stones. Yeah. Come on. Try something a little bit different on this strike. I struck above center line on this one. Instead of striking below center line, I struck above center line on this one. Now that could have been luck, so I don't know if that's going to work in the future. But I've been striking, I'm trying to lower the edge as much as possible to make these flakes travel. But I think maybe it doesn't matter. Or it makes it worse. Sometimes dropping the edge too far makes it worse. Yeah. Believe it or not. I'm having to make sure to grind the edge exceptionally well, even for the short flakes. Yeah. They don't like traveling. Look at that. Yeah, they don't. The flakes don't follow ridges very well. Yeah, so it's going against a lot of the normal rules of knapping. This particular type of dacite has a mind of its own. See, that one did it okay. See, that one followed the ridge, but it didn't like to follow the ridge over here on this side. Something stopped it. Something stopped it. So, I mean, it can follow ridges, but something is stopping. It might be just a loss of energy somewhere. I don't know. I hate to look when I don't see a long flake dropping down off the other side. I hate to look, and that's why. Yeah. Oops. Wrong abrader. And I lost some length. Yep. For not a good reason, because it didn't. See, everything else was okay as far as knapping, but that crushed right there. It didn't. I didn't see any problems, but apparently Didn't like that area. And I wasn't going for long flakes either. I don't know. Probably going to say, I don't know a lot with this one. Yep. Yeah, I made an exception to knap a large blade with this material because I like it. But I'm thinking, even if I like the material, I'm not going to make any more exceptions to knap these large blades. It's just not enjoyable at all. No, sorry to say. Yeah, there's got to be at least a little bit of predictability. When it's complete chaos, it's not that great. I mean, it's not boring, but it's tedious. Yeah, right there. Good. I'm glad at least it's making some progress. Yep. Yeah, I know I can hit above center line. I just hesitate to do it. But it worked. Yeah, it's working to hit above center line. I just hate to do it because I know that one of these times it's going to, grab it too much because it's too high above center line, and I'm going to run into some major difficulty. A big bite or just a snap right across it. Yeah, we'll see. As long as I don't bite off more than I can chew, it should be okay. Oh, this edge up here is driving me nuts. Right in this little area. And that's fine on this side. I'm going to have to go back to that side to clean it up. We'll see what happens. And this tapping like this might also be installing too many incipient cracks that don't normally make a difference, or they don't occur on other material. But I think tapping on, all the way down, might install too many incipients, leading to weird results. And doing this too, the habit of hammerstoning the edges with the abrader. But oh well, I'm not going to sit here and try to pressure flake all these little bitty flakes off. I'm just going to have to live with what I got. Make do with what I got. Yep. Let's see. Well, that was okay. I paid a heavy edge price, but I still didn't get the flake I wanted. It's making me pay double. Yep. It's an expensive proposition here. Where's the symmetry? I gotta be careful how I tap the edge. Make sure it's pure downward and no inward. Or maybe very, very little inward force. So I don't get incipient cracks. I'm thinking that's the problem. So it might not be the problem, but it can't hurt to be careful about that. I don't see any clear, nice avenues of attack. Okay. Well, that's pretty common to not see any good avenues of attack. That's pretty common. But with this material, everything needs to be perfect, apparently. Another high price on the edge, but let's see what we got. Yeah, I think that did it. What I wanted to do, yeah. I just pay a high price for those. Yeah. Okay. Come on. I know you can do it. See, I know it can run that ridge if it wants to. Yeah. All right, now let's see. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. See how it always snaps? Yeah. But I can sneak up on it sometimes and make it do it. All right, so if I can get that middle thin down, I can start winding down. Actually, I probably don't need to thin that middle. I do want to thin that middle because I get that weirdness. It just feels weird to leave it like that. Yeah, it feels weird to leave that middle thick right there like that. I can't do it if it feels weird. I don't like it. I don't know how I'm going to clean that up. I'm going to have to clean that up by making it more narrow up here. See, I still got to clean all this up and make it, make this side more like this side. See, this was fortunate that I was able to flatten this out and clean that up early. This one, I've got to do it late, and that's the problem. It's already thin. When it's already thin, it's not easy to clean that up with some bold flakes. I don't like too many flakes, in case you don't know. I call it being too flakery. Did it do it? I think it did it. Did I remove most of that lump? Yes, I did. All right. Voila. Now, where do I go from here? Now it's winding down a little bit. Yeah. I can take my foot off the gas a little bit. Yep. And concentrate on short flakes. Yeah, I'm not going to run any big long flakes anywhere, as far as I can tell. Excuse me. These coughs probably sound pretty bad with this new microphone. So the old microphone was attached to the phone, so I can move away from the end of the phone, but now the microphone moves with me. Yeah. And I'm not dehydrated because I drank a lot of water. I don't know what it is. It's a rock of dust, man. It's a rock of dust. Yeah. It's the rock dust. Is that good? It's not that good. I'm going to have to live with it. Yeah. Yeah, this stage is over. That was the last of it. That one last flake that I did somewhere. I forget where now, but yeah. I don't think I can do any good with any other flakes. Not if I want to keep this in one piece. See, if I thin this down too much, it'll snap. All right, so what is it? What I didn't measure it beforehand because I didn't want to. Yeah. What is it now? It's 7 3/4, a little bit more. Almost 7 7/8 by almost 3. Yeah, the 7 by 3 still haven't gotten it. I don't like the 7 by 3. My points are usually under that. To get a 7 by 3, I need a real big piece. And I consider it a big waste. Yeah. So this is the end of this stage. The next stage is living with whatever I got in the middle, and then trying to clean up areas that look all flakery. I don't like too many flakes, and I don't like these terminations that look like that. It's just too flakery there. It's just fine here. In fact, it's pretty good on that side. But the next stage is to figure out how to flake this side without crunching it, because this side seems to crunch a lot. Yeah, maybe I'll just have to pressure flake the edges and get them perfect. Yeah. What is the width to thickness ratio? Let's just call it 70 millimeter right there, and then measure. If it's 10, it'll be 7 to 1. If it's 10 millimeters across, which I think it is, yeah, it's about a 7 to 1. What is it down here? It's still 70. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit better than 7 to 1 in some areas. Yeah, it's good. 6 to 1 makes it look like a good aesthetic piece. 6 to 1 is good aesthetics when it's, 6 to 1 width to thickness ratio. Anything better than that, and it's going to look thin. Yeah. That side is fine. It's just the upper part of this side that I got to work on. And I'll just sell the biface after sharpening it. Yeah. I need to make my friend a good blade out of this stuff. But I'm thinking I need to get better. Yeah, better at working this stuff. Okay, that's good. I like it. And there you go.